Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Taimur Shamil. RSS and Shiv Sena, these are two mainstream, I would say, two right-wing political groups in India. Extremist groups who have been operating and working inside India. And these two groups have been backing BJP through and through for the last many years. RSS and Shiv Sena, they stand for Hindutva, extremism and terrorism at the same time. These groups have been backing the BJP leaders. They have been backing Narendra Modi, now the Prime Minister of India, a person who is also known as a butcher of Gujarat, the man who is also responsible for killing thousands of innocent Muslims in Gujarat riots, which are famous. He was the Chief Minister of Gujarat and then became the Prime Minister. Many people, many experts in the region, in the world, are of the view that this is basically the mandate of BJP to come up at the policy-making level. But to be a leader in BJP, you have to be an extremist, a right-wing person. Narendra Modi did the same, killing Muslims, and not just Muslims. BJP, RSS and Shiv Sena have also been attacking Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, low-caste Hindus and other minorities in the region, in India primarily. Kashmiris, the way they have been suffering in these last 5 years of the Modi government is no secret. It is an open secret that the genocide continues in Kashmir as well. This whole extremism and terrorism of RSS, Shiv Sena and BJP has now reached a new level. Recently, the Aligarh Muslim University was attacked by the student wing of RSS and BJP. The Aditya Nath Yogi, who is the Chief Minister of UP, he also backed this group. Akhil Bharatiya Parishad is an organization which is the student wing of RSS. And this student wing, this union, also collaborates with BJP. This wing attacked the Aligarh Muslim University because Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, the founding father of Pakistan, his photograph is there in the Union Hall of Aligarh Muslim University. He was the founder of Aligarh Muslim University, a donor as well, and a life member. So this is in the rules of Aligarh Muslim University that the donors and life members, their photographs are there in the student union hall. But this is not what RSS wants. This is not what BJP and Shiv Sena wants, because they are now trying to distort the whole history of India. And they want to make India basically a Hindu-dominated, Hindutva mindset prevailing country. India, which claims to be the largest democracy, is also perhaps the largest fascism in the world. Today we are going to discuss about what happened at Aligarh Muslim University. Many Muslim students, and not just Muslims, other students who are not Muslims, have been fighting this extremist mindset prevailing inside India. We are going to discuss about this and also Pakistan-India relations in the wake of what is happening inside India. Because if we want peace and stability, can we discuss these things, peace and stability, very refined, fragile issues with India, with a person, Narendra Modi, who is backed by these extremist outfits? For this, we have our special guest in the studios, Brigadier Retired Muhammad Khan. Is a senior defense analyst and a political analyst as well, and an academician. So welcome to the show. Our second guest is Mr. S.N. Bashir. He is an expert on Pakistan-India affairs and also on the domestic Indian affairs as well. So welcome to the show. Mr. Muhammad Khan, starting with what is happening inside India, the way Aligarh Muslim University was attacked by these people, a union which is collaborating with RSS and BJP. This extremism, rising extremism in India is alarming, not just for Pakistan, but also for the region. How do you see this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Taimur, first of all, thank you very much. And second, that we have very, very important topic today to discuss. Allow me a few minutes so that I put the entire this process into a perspective. You said in your introduction that RSS and Shiv Sena, these are the political parties or the wings or extremists, but I would say that they are indeed the militant groups or the terrorist groups. Origin of RSS can be traced back to 1923 to 1925. and their origin was totally based on Hinduita right from the beginning, and protection of the Hindu rights and all that, because that was a time once you know that India was colonized under Great Britain, and they were the one, they were looking forward that to have a group, to have a say in the Indian politics later on, in order to have the India which is totally dedicated for Hindu domination. Then what happened that during this period from 1925 to 1947, twice RSS was banned by British government. Later on, after decolonization, RSS was banned again by the, I would say that Indian government, twice at least. This is the first group which came into being prior to its political wing. I mean, India today, BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, is the political wing of RSS, and RSS is indeed the militant or the terrorist group of this. So this is a unique history that in the politics of India, that RSS came into being first, that is the militant wing, the terrorist wing came first, and the political wing came later, with Atal Bihari Vajpayee becoming the first member of the Indian Parliament in 1952. So this is indeed the brief history of this RSS and Shiv Sena. Now, together with RSS and Shiv Sena, they have definitely an agenda where the Hindus should dominate the India, and they believe that Hindu has the right to live in India, and other minorities being otherwise they are a part of the India, they should either convert into Hinduism or they should leave India, and this is open slogan. And they have something that back home or coming back home, I mean, you people were the Hindus, and you were converted during the Muslim rules or otherwise. So come back to your basic religion, that is the Hinduism. You have a room, you have an opening for you, and if not, then you have to leave India. And even if they are not, then you will be beaten, you will be punished, you will be killed. And this is indeed the strategy which is being followed. And let me tell you that this strategy has nothing to do with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Indeed, this is a continuation. And whatever the face India has in front of the international community in the form of the biggest democracy, in the form of what they say that a secular state, this is indeed it's a cover story. It is indeed the reality is something very, very different. And that reality with each passing day is coming in front of everybody. With Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as you said that he was the butcher of Muslims in Gujarat. Indeed,
this is called by the people of Gujarat.
Yes,
that's what the people of India call him.
Indeed, it is. And in this, he himself is a member of the RSS, and he takes directly from RSS headquarters. And as being the Prime Minister, he visited many a time to the RSS headquarters, and during that time he was briefed, he was given an agenda. And that agenda is indeed now following the Indian politics. You have seen that Indian Congress is, is criticizing, and even Dalits, they are criticizing Prime Minister.
But this too is very interesting, that Congress now is criticizing, but when Congress was in the power, they didn't do anything about RSS or Shiv Sena for that matter, or they never put a check on what these extremist groups were doing inside India. Today, so this is very interesting.
Today the membership of RSS, let me tell you that as membership of Chinese Communist Party is in the China, the RSS membership in India, it is more than 500 million. This is the active membership. And now they are preparing a force, and that force is going to fight as the vanguard of its regular army, regular navy and regular air force.
But I think the bigger threat, Mr. Hassan Rashid, at the moment, even to the, I would say, educated Indians, the liberal Indians, or those Indians who stand for peace in India, the biggest threat to them is BJP, their own government, their own state at the moment. Mr. Narendra Modi, for that matter, people like Nityanand Yogi. How do you see this rising extremism as a threat to sane voices in India?
I think, Taimur, you have hit the very particular point. What is actually happening in India is the concept or the vote bank of Indian present ruling government is not increasing, but it is decreasing. Since this government, this particular BJP came into power since 2014, and already 4 years have gone in, and now the election year is again coming. So let's not forget that the slogan which they usually use in India is basically an anti Muslim sentiment to be aroused within the public and generally victimizing the Muslims, and other than that, you know, trying to put blame game on Pakistan and infiltration from across the border. So these are those gimmicks which particularly they use in their political system. They use these slogans very loudly, they use it. But what actually is happening is that India is not a small country. India is having a huge population with 1.52 billion people's democratic country is out there. Is it really truly a democratic country now at the present or not? Now this is a very big question mark which needs to be seen. Now this is a country which was supposed to take care of all the nationalities, of all the religious sects living in this country for that matter. No doubt Hindus are in majority and Hindus were living peacefully with Muslims, with Christians and others as well. But now within India, what actually is happening is Muslims for that matter is obviously not secure anymore in India. No, neither the Christians are secure in India. What is happening is the Hindus, they themselves are also not very secure in India as well. You know, the Shudras and the Brahmins and all these, you know, these classism in India, which is haunting now. And this division is basically a very big mark for all these political groups which are getting strength in India, and especially this BJP and RSS, which are nothing but an outlaws. Their way of playing a game or winning a vote is by threatening, by going out and rampaging and killing. The same thing has happened in Aligarh, for which you started off, that 28 Muslim students have been injured and very critically injured, and few have lost their lives as well into that. Right. So just on one thing, and that is Jinnah Saab's photograph, which was there from last 80 years. Right. It was there from 1938, much before then the partition of these two countries came into being, much before that. So that means that the Aligarh University has got its own educational importance in the world for that matter. So his picture was not there because of Qaid-e-Azam in that way, that he was the founder of Pakistan. It was not hanged because of that particular reason. But what has happened is that that particular sentiment has been ignited in India, and even for that matter they have gone so low to just haunt and put that picture down. They have gone for a rampage on these innocent Muslim students unarmed there. And India is has become very, very usual thing. It is a thing which has become everyday's thing which has come. That same is happening in Kashmir. If you look into that, the Kashmiris are what? Kashmiris are poor, innocent individuals asking for their right of self-determination. And that is what they are asking for from last 70 years. Are they giving them? No, they are suppressing them. They're trying to make change the complete configuration of Kashmir by settling Hindus there, by forcible marriages with the Muslim women, so that the Hindus can be population is more than the Muslim population. So that one point for which Pakistan was created was the Muslim-dominated area goes with Pakistan and the Hindu-dominated area goes with India.
There's this whole idea of legitimizing extremism and terrorism, Mr. Muhammad Khan. I think India perhaps can be a very good case study, where you can bring up these people, otherwise extremists, terrorists, make them contest the elections, give them public offices, and that would just wash away all their, let's say, their sins or the way they have been attacking innocent people. This is at the moment what RSS and Shiv Sena is doing. BJP has been giving main portfolios, public offices to these extremists in their government and in different districts, I would say, in different provinces. Legitimizing extremism and terrorism. India is the case study. Do you agree with that?
Taimur, yes, I agree with this, that there is an issue in the Indian society, and as Mr. Hassan was saying, that some of the Hindus, even those who want to live with peace, they are also sick of such a strategy which is being adopted by Narendra Modi and his team. Overall, the strategy is that from top to bottom, a group of Hindu terrorists, they are being equipped and they are being given some of the very, very key appointments and key position in the top government, that is at the federal government, and that goes down to even the provinces and the states of India. For example, a year back, once Yogi took over as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, you know, his initial remarks were that find the graves of Muslim women and bring them out from their graves and rape them. I mean, this was his statement, and this is something which I personally heard.
Even on the recent incident, Adityanath Yogi said that he backs these people who have attacked the Aligarh Muslim University because he thinks that Jinnah was the person who divided India. So this is the mindset of a chief minister.
Yes, and Yogi indeed, in particularly, he said that all mosques in UP should have idols. I mean, it should not be a Muslim place. Basically, these were the Hindu temples which were converted and all that. Therefore, they should have the Hindu character also. And if somebody is not willing to pray in the mosque, should go out, or some other mosque should be closed for that matter. And then about the cow and its being sacred for the Hindus and all that, he has a very, very extremist ideology. No, in the entire UP, and UP is has a population which is more than the Pakistani population. This means that force is indeed now going downward to even the tehsil and village level, and they are isolating all the minorities, particularly the Muslims are being the biggest target.
And they are in big numbers in UP.
In the society, this trend of terrorism is indeed rising. Your particular question that whether these people should be holding the public offices and all that, indeed they are being spread in this entire Indian society as an official policy of the Narendra Modi, and this policy indeed is need to be contested. But let me tell you that once this is being done, I remember that it was Guardian which has written that Hindu Talibanization, it was a year back and all that, which means that if India is fighting a case against Pakistan, that the Pakistani, there are the extremist group in the Pakistan, let there be the reality to be brought out that in India, this extremism and the terrorism is more dangerous and violent than as it is in the Pakistan, because Pakistani armed forces, Pakistani security forces, Pakistani government and the Pakistani society has been countering throughout this trends of extremism and the terrorism. But in the India, it is being adopted as an official policy, and that is being appreciated by all tiers of command, I would say, in the India, which means that if the world has to look at the extremism and the terrorism trends in the world today, those are found everywhere in the India, and that has to be I think we have a very case in point against the Indian extremism and the terrorism, which is against the Muslim, which is against the Kashmiris, and I would say everybody, non-Hindus in the entire India.
A very, I would say, important point. Comparing, Mr. Hassan Bashir, BJP, Shiv Sena, RSS with what is, let's say, going on in the region. Mr. Muhammad Khan rightly said, the way Pakistan, for that matter Afghanistan, and these countries have been fighting extremism and terrorism successfully, we see that these people, India, they have been legitimizing these people, you know, and giving them offices as compared to Pakistan. Let's say India has never been, I would say, after 99 elections for that matter, any concern or any slogan in any, I would say, in our general elections. But elections in India are contested on anti-Pakistan sentiment. BJP uses anti-Pakistan sentiment. For that matter, look at the Pakistani media. I think we are more concerned about what is going on inside Pakistan, rightly so, addressing our own issues, and we are not that much obsessed with India. We are discussing it right now because we are alarmed by what is happening, you know, in the neighborhood. This extremism in India, as compared to what is in Pakistan and Afghanistan, regional countries are fighting extremism and they are legitimizing and promoting extremism.
Taimur, we are very rightly alarmed, and that is why we are talking today about it, because terrorism and all these cases is not, it's not happening. What is basically terrorism? Terrorism is basically interference, and it is like you want to put forward your agenda with force on someone else. You want to thrust it. Who is doing it? It's Indians who is doing it now in Pakistan. Openly they are trying to interfere into the affairs of Pakistan. Gulbashan Yadav is not a very long history ago. We caught him red-handed. He was conspiring. So all these things which is happening through India, what they are trying to do, they are trying to destabilize the region, and they are not interested in only destabilizing region. They are trying to destabilize Pakistan, the situation in Pakistan. Their contest is, their worry is that Pakistan, in any case, since 1947, the problem is with the Indian problem is that they are unable to digest the reality and fact on ground is that here in 1947 another country is created, and that is a sovereign country which is named as Pakistan. And they got independence from the rule which has proved. Right. And the Qaid-e-Azam's, Jinnah Saab's, rightly decision today proves that he made the right decision of having an independent Muslim state here in this region, for the reason that these Hindus would not allow the Muslims. Look at today what has happened in Aligarh, what is happening in elsewhere in the entire of India. That means that he was so right. He could apprehend it the 70 years back, which I and you could not have thought. Right. But he thought very rightly, and today the same thing is proved. Rightly.
We can see that. We can see that in Aligarh University.
Exactly. And the gimmick which they use for their own elections is against anti-Pakistan sentiment. They always try to use, and they try to make and ignite and put the situation, alarming situations and alarming kind of things. They just try to, figure it out and make a plot, make a gameplay, and then present it out there to the world. Look, oh, we are being disturbed by Pakistan, and this is what is happening. Terrorism is not basically something which is related to Pakistan. Pakistan has killed this menace of terrorism from its soil, from the region itself, and the world has recognized it. We don't need any recognition rather from world, what to talk of India, but we have done it for ourselves because we need peace at the moment, because Pakistan's dimensions of Pakistan's overall dimension has changed. Pakistan wants to really conquer and go fast on economic
and development.
The narrative has changed in Pakistan. We no more think of having a war and all that. We think of growing economically. We try to think of solving problems of our people, those who are every day growing in number. India should also do the same. That's a lesson which they need to learn.
That is exactly the point, I would say, that I want to understand, and I think our viewers should see, and what we're discussing, that is that India is basically a BJP, I would say. BJP is baffled by the development and the development projects that Pakistan, China, Iran, Afghanistan, I would say, and even the Central Asian states, they're working on. India rather is not a part of this whole development thing. India is gradually, I would say, getting isolated. Is India getting isolated? We'll talk about India being isolated at the moment, not by any other, let's say, group or a party, but itself, the BJP, the government of BJP is isolating India day by day. Countries in the region stand for peace and stability. But what we see in India, the way, once again, nothing new. Once again, the student wing of RSS, Shiv Sena and BJP, the way they have attacked the Aligarh Muslim University is alarming. Not just for many sane voices in India, but also in Pakistan and in the region. We'll continue our discussion on rising extremism in India. Stay with us. Welcome back. Communalism is nothing new in India. Extremism and terrorism too has now become more sort of a hallmark of BJP and the BJP way of politics. As we are discussing, I would just name those organizations again: RSS, Shiv Sena, people like Bal Thackeray, Adityanath Yogi, who is the present Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, one of the biggest provinces in India, with a large, I would say, population of Muslims in India. He has said that the people who attacked the Aligarh Muslim University and also who tried to bring down Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah's portrait, his photograph, are right, because Muhammad Ali Jinnah, they think, has divided the subcontinent. This is still the venom spewing, this is the statement of the venom spewing Chief Minister of India, one of the largest provinces in India. Mr. Muhammad Khan, talking about India, BJP and their face Narendra Modi, who is also responsible of killing hundreds and thousands of Muslims in Gujarat and other, I would say, minorities. He has not been able to perform, basically. He has not been able to deliver what he promised during his election campaigns. So once again, I would say a very understandable thing in India: bring up the communal rights, communal politics, and divert the attention of the people, let them fight, let them kill each other, bring up the anti-Pakistan sentiment, bring up the I would say, British sentiment as well, change the whole history, let people fight, and you win the elections. A very, I would say, a formula that RSS, as you rightly said earlier,
Yes.
and BJP, they have been working on this, and they have been
True.
trying this again and again.
True. Taimur, indeed, if you look at the patterns of elections, in India, traditionally the election pattern has been that they have been, the party which has been more anti-Muslims or anti-Pakistan has been winning the election in India. And this is more so with the BJP, particularly once Modi was to become Prime Minister. I think he provoked the people, Hindus particularly, against Pakistan, against Muslims and all that. And the popular vote was, again, it was of the Hindu vote and all that. Definitely, we are not against the Hindu as a religion, but we are against those people, those who are making use of this religion against humanity, against Pakistan, against Muslim, or against anybody who is minority in the India. They have no right under the banner of secularism or under the banner of world's largest democracy. No, definitely, Modi has not been able to deliver, and this is extensively found right in some of the, I would say that circles of the Hindus, and overall Indians, they are debating this particular aspect politically as well as socially and diplomatically also. And I am telling you that this failure of Narendra Modi, you can imagine from a hardliner. He was the former finance minister as well as external affairs minister, Mr. Yashwant Sinha. Yashwant Sinha was very, very important man in Atal Bihari Vajpayee's cabinet. Twice he had the minister. He has been Minister of Finance. He has been Minister of External Affairs. He tried to tell Modi and his team that whatever you are doing, this is indeed against the Indian society. And he, as a matter of fact, was telling him that this is against the Hindus even. Tomorrow, Hindus or the Indians, they will have no say, no space entirely at the global level. Reason being that today world is looking at not extremism, but looking at some of the soft values, soft powers, or I would say that soft image of the India. And if you are really projecting an image of the India which is totally filled with nothing else but the extremism, the terrorism, then India would have no place. For the time being, yes, India is being given the importance owing to some of the strategic reasons and owing to some of the economic reasons. But these reasons are not going to be valid for a long time. Therefore, the people, those mature people, I would say that visionary people, they are leaving Narendra Modi and his team. And India is isolating with each passing day.
Right.
And this isolation indeed, perhaps the credit goes to Modi and his team and the people like Yogi, as you said. But overall, I am looking at a trend in the India that is the extremism and the terrorism. And this trend indeed, what we feel that the world has to endorse, world has to take a notice of it. And we Pakistanis, particularly with reference to Kashmir and at time with reference to the Indian Muslims, I think the case against the Hindu terrorism or the Indian terrorism, the government-sponsored terrorism, that has to be referred either to ICJ or to International Court of Criminal. That's something that we have a very, very valid case.
Sir, interestingly, you mentioned about the world. I think we have seen many world powers that they couldn't do anything about it because for them, obviously, economic interests, and that is understandable.
And strategic interests.
Strategically, they want to go for that. But what we can now focus on is, Mr. Hassan Bashir, and we are doing it that, you can probably put a light on that in a better way, that Pakistan, China, primarily, and now Afghanistan as well, and Iran and Central Asian states, they have realized that this is a country which has been violating the human rights as well. They are capable of, bringing up any sort of difficult situation for the whole region. Recently, Narendra Modi was also on his visit to to China, and he met the Chinese officials over there. People in India perhaps were celebrating, but the experts in the region, that they know that the countries in the region now are trying their best at least to give India one chance to come, let's say, for development, peace and prosperity. If India doesn't do that, obviously, then the only option for India is to get isolated in the region. And region now is rising. How do you see that?
I think you have made a point, but a very important thing is that very recent diplomatic relations between Iran and India, which India wanted to develop, and India wanted to develop it and wanted to convince Iran to have a different view towards Pakistan's situation and try to side with them. But unfortunately, India could not present its case in that way. And the Iranian leader immediately after the Indian visit came to Pakistan, and they wanted to visit Pakistan, and the bilateral relations rather got improved after the Indian broke that ice and wanted to talk to Iranians on that account. So that shows that once he wanted to isolate Pakistan in the region and wanted to have a gameplay against and put the other countries in its bag, was not very successful. Then they went on the trading side, they went and they wanted to show to the world that the superpowers are trading with India more than anyone else, and they are, India is the right market for all the hardware for which we are there, and they should keep that relations under the garb of that hardware trade relationing. I'm trying to refer with American trading with India on the hardware. They wanted to show to the world that we are better market for everyone. So that means that we will have better relations and in this region. So Pakistan, being a smaller country and does not have that quantum of trading with America or with Russia, so therefore India stands out in that. But that also got fizzled out because of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, which was as a vision, an OBOR once came in, and the Chinese came in, and Pakistan again, by virtue of its strategic location and all that, and interest of China, Pakistan again stands out in that entire thing, and Pakistan again today stands much taller than India on the trading arm. The reason is, why I'm trying to say all this is, the reason is that Pakistan is gaining strength because Pakistan no more is into the game. Pakistan is the country which has always played against the terrorism. Pakistan has proved to the world that this is not the way forward. Pakistan is the country which has faced and has gone through this atrocities of war and seen these nightmares no one else has seen in this region. And it has always happened at the hands of India. Indians have been planning for all this. India probably is losing on the front, on the ground of economic rise, which they are trying to see that now Pakistan is getting or gearing up, and they have straightened their direction, and now Pakistan is heading fast on to that, and they are going to overcome all those deficiencies which previously Pakistan was ditched into. Like you see now today, Pakistan is much better in its foreign relations with the countries, neighboring countries, like we have got very good relations with Turkey, with Iran, with Afghanistan, with Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, the Russian states, the China,
recently Russia,
and all these developments are coming up and it is happening all that. See, where India is trying to do is wherever they go, they try to only speak against Pakistan, and they try to show to the world that ages old thing they only try to take out of their bag is that Pakistan is terrorist sponsoring country. A country which has faced so much of its atrocities in home, how can they sponsor for the same thing? It is not possible. And plus, Pakistan has shown to the world that Pakistan is no more into this game. Pakistan is in the face of it. Pakistan wants peace with Afghanistan. Pakistan is always trying to offer its services to have peaceful negotiations in Iran, in Afghanistan. They are trying to bring onto the table the Afghan Taliban. So Pakistan has got a very different dynamics now playing. India is left out. So that is the reason that India is facing, and India is feeling hotter now, and they try to. Right. That is the reason that they try to now, as the you would see the moment the election year will be closing up in India, the LOC violations will be much more than what happens during these days. You know, just so India.
And that's exactly what we are talking about. That they want that communalism thing inside India, and also that anti-Pakistan sentiment. And you're right that. We can see that they would keep the line of control and working boundary aggressive, so that the anti-Pakistan sentiment would prevail in India.
Yeah, remain alive.
Remain alive, and the way Indian media is complying with whatever BJP and RSS is doing.
Sorry to cut you here, but interestingly, the Indian media has changed its direction also. If you happen to watch Indian media and try to follow on to the Indian media has started to criticize the policies of this present government. They have started to really not talk a bit vocal, though they should be more vocal, I think, because if it's a freedom of speech is given there and it's a democratic country, then more opening should be given. But then there's a lot of channels in India, they're covering all these stories with the negativity they are trying to present, that this victimization of a community in India is not in the greater interest of India.
But maybe you're right. But I think maybe 2 or 3 perhaps media groups, but the larger media in India, interestingly, is just another, I would say, media wing of BJP and RSS and Shiv Sena. They have been doing it. But you're right, there are some sane voices that we are talking, in media as well, and in the society. Mr. Muhammad Khan, Pakistan and India both have also become members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. While we talk about development and prosperity in the region, economic stability, both are now the members, but the issue is that if you look at the charter of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, it clearly mentions that SCO now expects, let's say, or the regional organizations working for development, they expect that the member states would not be a part of financiers of terrorism or extremism. They have to do well also on the domestic side as well in fighting extremism and terrorism. We have a history, 17 years, that we have been fighting extremism and terrorism. Do you see that India would anyway be coming up to that standard of even SCO, because we can see people like Adityanath and Narendra Modi and these people, RSS Shiv Sena, financing even the TTP, financing the Jamaat ul-Ahrar in Afghanistan, financing people like Mr. Hassan Bashir just mentioned, Yadav for that matter. These organizations, what India gave up? Their support to extremism and terrorism inside India and outside India?
Taimur, indeed, 3 very important aspects of SCO is to fight against extremism, terrorism and separatism. Right? These are 3 slogans of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Pakistan has a very, I would say, clean and dedicated record of fighting against the extremism and the terrorism. And this record has been appreciated by almost all countries of the world, including United States of America. But more so, it has been a case that whenever, even for owing to the vested interest, United States has been pointing fingers on Pakistan. I think China has been forthcoming to give a clarity to the world, and no, Russia has joined hand. So 2 major countries, they are part of this organization, Russia and China. And they have a lot of appreciation for the countries like Pakistan. And these 2 countries, they are feeling heat of that this rising extremism in the Indian society is something very, very dangerous. Reason being that, and this is not only these 2 countries, but entire countries of SCO, they are feeling problem. And today, once we will have forthcoming meeting of SCO in June this year, I think Pakistan and India, they have lot And since Pakistan has a lot in the form that Pakistan has indeed reflected, given a very clear picture as far as fight against extremism and terrorism. But on the Indian side, you do not have any of thing in the credit of India. Rather, with each passing day, the world as a whole, and this organization in particular, is noticing the Indian trends toward extremism and terrorism. Therefore, perhaps this is going to be an issue with the SCO, if not this year, next year. That after all, India is doing not what it is supposed to do from the banner or the charter of SCO, whereas the Pakistan has done a lot. And this is going to be in the advantage of the Pakistan. But Taimur, once we have all these things, I think there is a requirement at the level of the government in the Pakistan that we should do all out in order to highlight what is being done in the India or Indian promotion of the extremism and the terrorism in the Pakistan. Very recently, I have a statement with me, that is the former Chief of Army Staff of India, General Bikram Singh. He said that we have to bleed Pakistan, we have to hire the people, we have to give them money, and they have to be made terrorists and extremists. This is official policy of India, and that has to be given as evidence to the SCO forum also.
Well, you rightly said, and I think this is very evident from their statements as well, what the Indian officials want. But I hope that the same voices are there in the region, even in India, Pakistan and other countries, and we hope that peace prevails. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Mr. Muhammad Khan, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. Mr. Aslam Rashid, pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for joining us. The extremism and terrorism in India is on the rise. We saw what happened this week. The Aligarh Muslim University was attacked by the students who have affiliation with RSS, Shiv Sena and BJP. This is the student wing of the BJP and extremist groups in India. Pakistan stands for peace. We have been talking about peace, but any adventure from the Indian side would certainly would be responded in the same coin, and also Pakistan is in the position of giving a befitting response to any Indian aggression on line of control and working boundary, because this is understandable. BJP is contesting, they have been contesting the elections on anti-Pakistan sentiment. They perhaps would continue that. But as I said earlier, any adventure would be paid back in the same coin. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.